What's up guys, this is Sharon talking, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be making a full review for the Romancing Festival UniverSe banner that brings UniverSe. Now as an attacker that also has very good sustain. Then we have Elisabeth that can evade and do damage, and Princess Rei that is a heavy nuker with access to multi-hits and status ailments. Well, let's start talking about UniverSe. They gave him 103% endurance and 93% will, so he has very good defensive status. Also 88 agility, I don't know why he likes agility. And dexterity is 116, that could have been better, but it's okay. I don't know why he has intelligence as well, because there's nothing that you can do with this. Now for passives, we have weapon switch. When attacking with slash attacks, recovers BP by 2 points. When attacking with blunt attacks, grant himself an attack boost that increases damage by 10%, lasts for 3 turns, and also buffs agility by 15%. I don't know why he's buffing agility, because he's not someone that will be evading boss attacks, at least not most of them. Then when attacking with pierce attacks, he grants himself a defense boost, decreasing damage taken by 20% for 3 turns and stacks, and will also buff his own dexterity by 15%. But the thing here is, dexterity with pierce attacks, well, only his second skill has pierce, but he carries a chase attack with this weapon master passive when he attacks with his skill number 3. He will chase with this double S power attack that is slash and pierce. Here we have the pierce attack. That will also grant himself defense boost, decreasing damage taken by 50% for 1 turn. So, this weapon switch will only trigger the dexterity buff and defense boost when you are using skill number 3. So we'll be back to this later. He also increases damage at all times by 30% at least, and then another 20 from high protect tension for a total of 50. But sometimes 80 because of the attack boost, and sometimes 90 even if you can attack 2 times with his nuke attack in 3 turns. Then we have 1 damage reduction passive, decreasing 30%, and the defense boost will trigger at least once every 3 cycles, but sometimes twice as well. So 30%, then we have 50% in 1 turn, every 2 turns, and the extra defense boost that decreases it by another 20. He's pretty defensive, so let's talk about the damage now. The skill number 3, call it Bazooka and Chainsaw, it's 10 BP cost, and it's double S, fast as well, that hits for blunt and slash. So, when he attacks, he triggers his attack boost, that increases damage potential by 30%. Because his chase attack is double S power, but it has only rank 1. So that will feel like your attack will be much stronger, but still not feeling like a triple S attack, but just remember that gun skills are strong enough. So he will be attacking with double attacks on 1 turn, then he will just revert into using a weak attack on turn 2 that is called Slash Bomb. It's a C power attack with blunt and slash, and it's just 2 BP. That means that he will regain 3 BP in that turn. When he uses Bazooka and Chainsaw, he regains 7 BP, because he's attacking actually 2 times with slash. And he will also get 2 times the attack boost, 2 times the agility buff as well. I don't know why the agility buff, but at least the attack boost will keep stacking to increase his damage potential. Well, I believe that his final damage output will be very similar to Gwen, because Gwen has 50% chance to chase with a double S power attack. So Gwen is better defensively, in my opinion, but they are not so far from each other. Gwen is blunt and lightning, that is much rarer to find, and we have here blunt and slash, that is very easy to find, the 2 elements that are most common in the game. But the good thing is that he has a perfect cycle. So he opens with Bazooka and Chainsaw, then he uses Slash Bomb, and then on turn 3 he has enough VP to use Bazooka and Chainsaw again, turn 4 Slash Bomb, and he keeps this cycle in boss fights forever. He is a strong damage dealer, but not a real nuker that won't die easily. Then skill number 2 is called Sword Rain. This is a full AoE attack with slash and pierce with only 6 BP cost, and since he will trigger the 2 BP gain, he can use this 3 times in a row in any formation. This will only work for solo on story mode and also when using the remembrance gun. So it's not that strong, for events it's very weak. As for inheritance, in his platinum style there is Great Adventure, that is a 3-hit attack with both blunt and slash, so he will trigger the 2BP gain. But since he will lose the chase attack, it does not make much sense unless you want to taunt and allow him to draw more enemy attacks toward himself. But you could just use the platinum style instead, because this one even counters. I think he is what he is, and the only thing that he gives is a new attack for the Halloween version of Human Male, because now you can use skill number 3 and buffs with attack boost 30% of all his counter attacks that will be used in that turn. So besides, I think you should be using him as he is, because he is made to be a strong damage dealer. It's just not as strong as Silver, not as strong as Red, not as strong as Mirsa, and not as strong as Liam. So I think that he still works by being very defensive, but will be easily forgotten and also very easy to skip. There's a future version of Human Male on JP that starts using swords, and he is a tank that draws enemies attack, that can counter, negate indirect attacks, also has morale up to increase damage of the party while also having a nuke, has multi utilities, but it's for sword, maybe we already have way too many styles, we'll see when he gets released here. I was thinking about giving him a triple S grade, but since his Halloween style is superior and he is inferior to many of our current damage dealers, I think an SS Plus grade is well deserved. The next character is Princess Rei, and she has 118 intelligence, that's a good value, it could have been higher, but it's okay. 82 endurance and 105 will for very good sustain for a mage. Also 97 agility will help with accuracy and allow her to attack faster. She does have 76 charisma because she can apply charm and will self-heal for good values as well. For passives we have Stillborn Life. When attacking, damage increases by 20%, and if her HP is not full, damage taken will be reduced by 10%. I don't know why. And then by the end of a turn, if she is dead, she will recover her HP by around 1.2 thousand. And this will not activate if she was killed by poison. The second one is called Fierce Diminution, and damage increases by 30% at all times, and when attacking she has a 37% chance to trigger a will debuff that will debuff 20% of the enemy's will. So it will increase the damage output when she's attacking, but the buffing will is usually for applying ailments, and she can apply different ailments as well, so it helps. Then the third one, Crisis Management 5. When attacked, damage will be reduced by 50%, that's right, at all times. And when leading an attack, she has a 50% chance to trigger damage block that will negate one hit, and there's no limit of turns. That means that she can actually stack this much like the latest version of Liam with RNG. And she can attack 3 times with one of her skills, so she actually has good chance of keeping up with damage block. And if you know how to use her nuke, you actually trigger this quite some time. But, well, we need to discuss this, because her skill number 3 is called Mirage Shant. This is a 16 BP nuke attack that attacks 3 times. Yeah, the first hit is Blackjack. Then the second one is Jackal. And then the third one is Nightmare. So, all of them are now on plus versions because she got amplifies for all of these attacks with their single versions. And, well, if you are using her on Sudden Squad, you're gonna recover 3 BP back. That means that you essentially got it reduced to 13 BP. The damage here is kind of very hard to try to measure. It will be very similar to a full charge of Liam when he uses anti-material shot in 5 chases. But here for shadow damage, and if she is being used together on Sudden Squad, the damage can be even higher. But the cost is too much, it's prohibitive at least. That's why they created skill number 1, call it Wish of Rebirth. This is a very strange skill, because she, well, becomes unconscious. She recovers 10 BP, then by the end of the turn she gets another 3 for 13, and she grants herself a damage block, 1. And heat up effect that will increase her damage potential by 10% for the whole fight. Also, a defense up that will decrease all damage taken by 10% for the whole fight. But she just self-harms to, well, become unconscious. Then she will just revive on the same turn, because she has this stubborn life that if she's dead, she recovers with 1.2k. 1.2k is not much, so it's strange because if she does not have damage block, she would just die, but she has. So, depends on boss behavior as well. If a boss attacks 3 times per turn, she will eventually lose all of her damage blocks, unless you have very insane RNG. But Wish of Rebirth is the only way to keep up with such a high BP cost skill. When you attack it with Mirage Chant, you will recover 3 BP by the end of a turn, and then you will have enough to go back after you use Wish of Rebirth. But on the start of a fight, she does not have 16. She has to start with Wish of Rebirth. Damage only happens on even turns, and only happens up to 5 times per battle because she's losing LP when she becomes unconscious. But there's just one big problem when using Princess Rei. Doesn't matter if she's getting the damage blocks most of the time, because when she becomes unconscious, she will lose all buffs applied to herself. That's what happened. You lose the guard ups, defense boosts, attack boosts, intelligence buffs especially, so her synergy when using Muse is 0, because she will lose buffs. Unless use buffs first before Rei attacks, but then she will only have 1 stack of a buff. Of course, buffs will decay, but if you are buffing every single turn with Muse, she increases the capability of damage for very high values for many different characters. That means that Princess Rei has a limit. She can only nuke with good sustain 5 times, and her damage potential is kinda reliant on herself. But, well, usually in most boss fights she will not even take damage, she will just keep getting damage blocks, because every single hit of Mirage Chant has a chance to grant another damage block. And she gets another one just by using Wish of Rebirth. Well, she is only going to die if the enemy attacks 3 times per turn. That can happen though. So, Princess Rei as a nuker works, but it's way too gimmick. And, well, I believe in the future we'll get characters that don't need such a gimmick in order to do more damage. They can just stay there using their nukes turn after turn instead of having to use this. And they will scale better with buffers. Second skill is called Ripple Charm. This is a 6 BP AoE attack shadow damage that can apply Charm, and also debuff enemies will by 20%. This is made so that you can clear easily battle versus Wuhan or Remembrance, more if you are a new player than anything, because there's way too many versions of Charm and Confusion for staff users, so it's not a big problem at all. Princess Rei is more about just nuking with that strategy, and much better if you have Saruin. Now, one character that works well with Rei as well is Socho, because he can give 10 BP with use of Let Me Handle It, so that you can try to keep nuking with Rei in fights where the enemies attacks too many times to give Socho enough BP in order to keep using Let Me Handle It as soon as possible. So you have to use Socho, Saruin, Rei, and 2 others. That will probably be support, because either way you will not be able to keep up. But I guess he fixes Rei problem if you have it, and if you want to use Rei as your damage dealer together with Saruin, so the 2 characters will be doing lots of damage. But Rei is exclusive to Shadow. Shadow is not a common weakness for bosses. It's more about Sun, Slash, Blunt, and the likes, so there are some limitations. Now, for Inheritance, if you are using her with Socho, Tiger Cat works because it's a 1 BP skill, and it will avoid her need to use normal attacks, and she will not use her skill number 1. Then there is also Wonder Ohor. That's a skill that can be used on turn 1 at least, and hits between 2 to 3 times with C power. It's not that strong for current game, but, well, it just works. And she got amplifies for all of her skills, like I said, Black Cat, Nightmare, Cocatrice, and even Green Reaper, Jackal. So damage of these skills will be better, but, well, she's still not something to be used for farming. It's just for boss fights and the elements that she may actually use for ailments. She can petrify, she can poison, she can inflict Charm, she can inflict sleep. There's way too many different ailments, but where do we use them? The game does not have content where we have to use this type of ailments. Well, if they release something, Rei will shine, but right now, it's nothing important. Now, even if Rei is a little gimmick, her damage is very high, and I cannot deny that. She will receive a triple S grade because of her raw power, but eventually will fall off. This is the last version of Rei as of now on JP, so that's the end of the road. The last character is Elisabeth. She's a club user, 120 STR is good enough, she has 81% endurance wheel, that is just okay, and agility is 96%. Well, for passives, we have Brief of Repose 3. By the end of a turn, if no damage is taken, she will recover her HP by 1000 and also recover her own BP by 3. This is a type of passive that we saw in Orluge some time ago. Then the second one is called Hard Stance 5. 1 full HP, damage increases by 30%. On full HP. When being attacked, she has a 50% chance to evade enemy attacks. But just remember that she needs to stay on full HP in order to evade enemy attacks. Then the third one, Laid Like Banners. When attacking, damage increases by 20%, and damage taken will be reduced by 25%. So, this is the only damage increase that does not rely on full HP. When HP is not full and attacking, she will chase with Blast Heal. That will happen every time. So, this is a C power attack that has blunt damage and recover HP by around 1000. It's a nice thing, but you kind of want her to stay on full HP to have access to the passive. You want her to stay on full HP and not take damage to trigger the first passive. So this is kind of a countermeasure that will allow her to go back on full HP. But I really wanted her to always use this attack, not just when HP is not full, because this kind of does not help with damage. It will be much better to always chase. Now for skills. The first one is called Healing Beat. This is a free skill that has deep power and recover HP by around 200. Well, it's free, so it's okay. The second one is called Wide Stamp. This is a 7 VP attack that deals B damage and has 27 mod. The latest version of Liam has an AoE attack with Blunt that is also 27 mod. It is enough to solo story stages, since she will get back 3 BP every turn. She can use this 3 times in a row in any formation. Will solo farm story stages only. Then skill number 3 is called Riveting Revolt. This is the same skill that we saw in the latest version of Sharon. That's actually very good because can only be used 5 times, okay. But it is double S power, 9 BP cost, and after attacking she enters an evasive stance that will evade all enemy attacks. Even evades ailments. So, you will regain 3 BP because of the passive trigger, and 3 BP by the end of a turn, so you regain 6 after using 9. Well, she can actually keep using this many times in a row, but since she starts with 10, there will be turns where she will not have this, and you will probably be on full HP, so you will have 50% chance to evade at least, and she already has at least a damage reduction. She's not like Henry that, well, has nothing to decrease damage when he's not blocking. And every time you use Riveting Revolt and you are not on full HP, you will get that chase attack as normal, and you also recover 1000 by the end of a turn because of Breath of Repose. So she was always trying to get back to full HP with different mechanics. The problem is that Riveting Revolt can only be used 5 times, so after some usage, she'll have to rely on her passives instead of just using her skill. But you will have to use some inheritance options when this ends. For inheritance, if you have her Global Access style, there is Dual Hammer, a 9 VP skill that hits twice by A power, that is equal to high-end triple S damage. There is also Multi-Directional Strike for Paralyze versus the Real Queen, especially when you get stage 25, but I don't like the other inheritance options for her. She has Grand Slam Plus, but, well, she's not made for full EOE because she does not start with 12. And from her Platinum style, her nuke attack is also too costly, so you will only get a second chance to attack if you have Dual Hammer. So Elisabeth can also be used as an off tank with formations like Rising Phoenix X, and she can use her evasion to negate some enemy attacks, but after 5 usages of Riveting Revolt, you will not have anything to keep her alive. I think the character works by design of evading and trying to do damage here and there, but the damage is not great, and sustain is, I don't know, subjective. If your party is surviving, you don't need to bring one character to just draw enemy attacks, and we have real tanks that are also enough, so her utility is more for Remembrance Battle than anything. Her damage is not that great there, she's not really a nuker, but she will help people lacking damage options. She will receive an SS Plus grade in the tier list. Well, there is a future version of Elisabeth on the road, and she has a 5 AP skill that buffs STR and Will, much like Sif. She has two different passives that decrease damage taken by 10% to the party, so very close to Scroom Guard. She has a chance to apply Charm, and has a nuke attack that self-heals by extreme effect. So she is also an utility character in her future style, but I think this one does not need inheritance, it is good enough. Now back to the banner image. Is this banner worth summoning for? In my opinion, no. I will only be giving this a Bronze Plus award, and the Bronze Plus is just because you can find utility for all of these three characters here, and I don't think people will be using Henry. Even if they find utility for Laura, she's more of a farmer than anything else, and Iskandar is a very good style, but he's the only character that people should be aiming for, in my opinion. So this banner is easy to skip because of the reasons I'm explaining, like Human Male, trying to do damage for blunt and slash, and we have way too many alternatives that are superior. It does not matter if he's the only one receiving less damage if the rest of the party is dead, so you should be thinking more about party sustain than just one character surviving by himself. Elisabeth works for Remembrance by drawing enemy attacks. She can even help with Wuhan by trying to negate the instant kills, and works there, but not for hard challenges. And Princess Rei has very strong nuke and synergy with Saruin and Socho, and in the future, Sharon, another protagonist. But all in all, it's a very skippable banner, and people should be skipping if they don't have many gens and plan for future banners that will be much better. But that's my opinion. What is yours? Please see here in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye.